Hello, everybody. My name is Kamora, and today we'll be reviewing our fourth installment of Season 3 of Bubble Guppies. Season 3, Episode 4, The Super Ballet Bowl. In this episode, inspired by a ballet performance, Molly and the other Guppies decide to learn ballet themselves. They then put on their own ballet show, aiming to tell a story through their dance. Now, this episode, I absolutely love it. When I was younger, I didn't really think too much of it, but I really started connecting more with this episode when I started taking ballet at the age of 8 years old. So I love this episode now, and what I mainly like for this episode for is not a single time did they question stereotypes, and I'll talk about that later on. So our episode starts with Molly and Gil swimming to school, and they hear a lot of commotion on their way, and they see I want to assume this is somebody else's backyard, front yard, because it looks pretty backyard-ish. There's a grill in the background. They have an outdoor TV. They have some benches and stuff, and they're explaining that they're watching instead of the Super Bowl, we have the Ballet Bowl, which is that's clever wordplay right there. That is pretty clever. So they're explaining every dance tells a story. They like the costumes, they like the dancing, and they're basically watching a ballet version of Mary Had a Little Lamb, and they're cheering like this is some sort of football game, which if only people could appreciate ballet just like that. But anyway, Molly is just so amazed, and her reaction to them dancing, just wide mouth opened, obsessed, is giving very how Gil was with Officer Miranda's siren lights back in a few episodes ago in the police competition. Um we have a lot of play on words of this season. A lot of play on words of this season, like a lot of, Trunkadunk on our last episode, competition, the episode before, and our next episode we're gonna have a very classic title mixed with a name of a place. And this episode we have a Super Ballet Bowl instead of a Super Bowl, which we have a lot of wordplay in this season, and I like it. I like it. And she's obsessed, and Molly wants to be a ballerina, and she's doing a lot of dancing, and everybody's cheering for her almost as much as they were cheering for the TV. And they said that you could be a good ballerina dancer just someday, but you have to practice a lot. And they get to school, and they tell everybody about Molly wanting to be a ballerina, and how I especially like when Una says that you get to wear a tutu, and Diva's like, tutu. It was just cute. It was adorable. And this is the part of the episode where I absolutely love. Gobi asks, and I quote, "Can boys do ballet too?" And Mr. Grouper says, "Of course they can. Some of the best ballet dancers are boys," which I love that. We don't have no, and we don't, you would think the boys would be questioning, should we be doing ballet? And Gil is the most enthusiastic. Sure, sometimes, he might be he wouldn't really be interested in a girl activity, but when it comes to this, he doesn't question it at once. Like, this is girly. None of them questions about it being girly or anything, which I am so happy and praised for this episode for doing. I'm just so happy. I really am. It's just one of those things I can look back on and just be happy that the show wasn't afraid to do, especially around the early 2010s. So, praise for that. And then we have our question segments about what do ballerinas have, what do they do, and then we have our pop song at the ballet. It's just so amazing. The song is just so beautiful, and the costumes too. And Gil at one point pretending to be a nutcracker. It's just, for some reason, this song is playing always in the back of my mind. I don't know why. And it's not even because it's annoying, because it's really beautiful. That song is just that good. And then we have our shop segment. Nani wants to have his little starfish put on a show of Twinkle Twinkle Little Star, and it looks like um Dima says it looks like you have everything that you need, but she needs music, and we have to help Dima find out, pick the perfect music for her, which I like that, because certain ballets needs a certain type of music, and it's not just like a certain type of music. It can have all music may like all ballet music may feel like it's gonna sound the same, but it really isn't. It's gonna sound different each time, which I also like that. I like that. And then we have our lunch joke. Donnie had a tuna fish sandwich, and the sandwich is wearing a tutu, and it's a laugh. It's a laugh. Don't know how I feel about that. It's a laugh. And then we have a Molly and Gil segment about Gil, so enthusiastic about ballet, just as Molly was. Um, he has a little starfish. His name is Miss Mimi, and he explains that sometimes partners will take turns dancing, and sometimes partners will dance together, and sometimes you'll even you'll have to catch you'll have to catch the person that's dancing. And Gil, in his bright mind, thought it would be a good idea to think that a little starfish would catch him. And of course Miss Mimi ran. She ran like there was no tomorrow because she was not getting crushed. And by the results of Gil's plan, he face plants into the sand. But I mean, he didn't seem upset about it like you would have thought he was. And then we have our classroom segment. They're playing in the classroom, and Dima, she has a little ballet class, and they're using little blocks as little like the things that ballerinas be stretching on before they get to dancing. I absolutely love that. And at first she claps the beat like 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and it's Una, Gobi, and Molly all dancing at the same time, but then Molly steals the show and she's doing her pirouettes, her sachet chantés. She's doing all the 9 yards. Everybody, and I like how Dima says, ooh la la. I was ooh la laing too, girl. I was ooh la laing too. It's just, and everybody's applauding her and saying that she did so good and she's been practicing, which I love that. Then we have our outside segment, our storybook segment, and it's ballerina ninjas, Gobi and Una, which I like that. I always like it when they team up together. It's really nice. It's really nice. No, I don't ship them. They're just friends. Please and thank you. I just really like it. I like it a lot. And once again, Mr. Grouper being involved in their story. I like that. I like it whenever he gets involved like that. There's a monkey who stole his golden ballet slippers, which I feel like out of all the stories, it's not that I don't care about the stories, it's just that I feel like at all in the show, I care about them deeply, but I feel like this one stuck with me the most because it has a bit more depth to it for some reason, like a bit more tension. I think, but I felt the same way in other like season 2 stories. But this one made me feel a certain type of way, not in a bad way, but like made me feel more invested for some reason. I don't know why, but even when I was younger, so they have to get it back from the snow monkey, and I also like how we incorporate ballerinas and ninjas together, because if you think about it, ninjas, the moves that they were doing, they're just as petite on their feet as ballerinas, which I like that a lot. So I like that. You wouldn't think that would mix, but it does mix. It does. And I like that. And I also was really like chest tightened at the chasing scene when the monkey was chasing them. Like, oh my goodness. Ooh, it was just a lot. Oh my goodness. There's chasing him and everything. And they was able to get there. The monkey was able to get there before them, and they were able to capture him. And when he started crying, and I really like what Gobi said, even when he was starting to cry, because normally they would say, "What's the matter?" And then the villain would explain. Gobi said, "Why are you crying? Those don't belong to you." That's basically saying, "Why are you crying for something that you stole that doesn't belong to you?" But which, I feel like that if you had to tell a kid that, like, if they stole something from somebody else, "Why are you crying? It doesn't belong to you." I feel like that's a more nicer way to do it, in my opinion. But the monkey said that, "I just want to learn how to dance with those slippers too." And Una said that it's not just about the slippers. And it kind of makes me think about me, because when I was younger, when I started doing ballet, I thought I was just for at first I wanted to do ballet just for the pink dresses, the pink tutus, but I learned that it's more than just the pink tutus. You gotta practice, which I learned that, and along with getting to learn how to dance, I got to dance with a super cute tutu. And I also like the tippy toe jump. We're gonna get that later on at the end with Gil. I'm gonna tell you one thing. It was just they had to avoid like hot boiling water, which that I think that's what made me think about. I think that was the thing that made me remember this story the most by heart. So maybe, and they all started dancing ballet together, which is really cute. Happy ending. And then we have our ballet dance song, and I feel like this is out of all the dance songs in this season, I feel like this one has more depth because it talks you through what you have to do to dance this dance, which I like it. Dima talks about positions, and I love the lyric how there's moves for the boys and moves for the girls. I like that. I love that. I love that so much. And once again, I have to praise Grace Kaufman's vocals here because this has to be this has to be some of the best she's ever sung in the series. I love it so much. I love it. She did a really good job. Shout out to Grace right here. Shout out to Grace. And we have another Molly and Gil segment. Gil explaining to Molly, I know why it didn't work last time with Miss Mimi. And she says, oh yeah. And he and at first I was gonna say that at first I thought he was gonna say something like, sorry if you hear like a car in the background, he was gonna say something like, oh, because I didn't do the correct move right, that's why she didn't catch me. But he thought of it the right time. I mean, he thought of what was actually the problem. He didn't really come to the conclusion that he was too big, but he did come to the conclusion that it's the boys that catch the girls. We'll get that later on too. And yeah, he was able to catch Miss Mimi, but getting flashbacks from the end of Have a Cow, where a whole bunch of starfishes and tutus are starting to like starting to chase Gil because they want him to catch them too. Baby, he wasn't gonna do that. There's too many of y'all. Jesus Christ. Oh my God. Yeah. Then we have our field trip segment, which is the Super Ballet Bowl, and we have and I just know people did a lot of shipping when it came to this segment. Gil's the prince and Molly's the princess. I'm not saying I don't like this segment. I do, but I'm just thinking of all the shipping that this scene cost. My goodness. But yeah. It's really nice, and everyone's cheering for Molly, and we have Una and Dima as the little alien stealing her crown, and I like how and they even have a sponsor, like, okay, and apparently they said this is a classic story, the aliens versus the princess. I don't know if it's like a classic. I want to say this is a classic story in their world, because I never heard of it in my non-Bubble Guppy world. But yeah, and I like how halfway through the segment, they actually turn it into like a football game when they're tossing the crown around like it's a frisbee. And this is our second time when we see Una and Dima as aliens. Our first time was back in The Moon Rocks. Absolutely love it. It's just really this segment was really cool, and my girl leaped at the end. She did a leap. Sorry for the noise. She leaped across that field and Gil caught her. Go ahead now, Molly. Go ahead now. She nailed it. And Gobi and Ani as the guards was also really cute. It was adorable. It was. And everybody just being in awe, because I was in awe. I'm telling you, if it wasn't for that leap Molly did, I would have never remembered this episode. I would never remember anything about her. I would have never had my love for this episode. This episode was so good. And that ends the game. And I also like how the announcer says it looks like the aliens are going home empty-handed. Like if it was a real football game. So I like that. And they're all throwing roses at Molly. The Guppies applauding her because she for real stole the spotlight. And I mean that. She did. Period. And last Molly and Gil segment, Molly and Gil complimenting each other about tonight's performance. How Gil complimented Molly on her dancing, how good she was. And Molly said, "You're really good too, especially catching a partner." And Gil said, and I quote, "I bet you I can catch anybody." And then I don't know how they came in here, but apparently the Super Bowl watchers from earlier in the episode got word of this, and they stated tippy toe or jump. And oh man, Gil, be careful what you say, because you never know when others are around listening. And then towards the end, they're walking out and they're chasing after Gil doing tippy toe jump, tippy toe jump. and I also like how Bubble Puppy's also wearing a tutu, even though he's a boy. Small details, but I love it. It's also cute. And I also like it when they first when they first look at the TV earlier in the episode, when they see the Super Bowl label on TV, Bubble Puppy lays down in the grass. It's really cute. He was about to go to fall asleep. This is adorable. So overall, this episode was really, really good. I mainly love this episode now as an adult because of just how it doesn't question whether males should do female like dancing. I absolutely love that. Absolutely love that. It's just it's just a really big thing. It's a really big thing that a cartoon like this is doing, because I love how it doesn't question stereotypes or anything. I love in this episode it says males and females can enjoy ballet dancing. It doesn't matter who you are. You can enjoy it, and you can enjoy it. And if somebody thinks of it as girly, so be it. As long as you're enjoying it, as long as you're living the dream, doing ballet dancing, girl or boy, who cares? As long as you're happy. And that's why I'm happily giving this episode a 10 out of 10. Because it deserves it. It deserves it. All the ballet dancing, all the pinks, all the Super Ballet Bowl. It's just, I love it. And this episode is getting a 10. So, with that being said, tune in to me next time as we will be reviewing our next episode. Season 3, Episode 5, The Wizard of Oz. Tralia. I had to do it. If you've seen the episode, you know. See you all next time.